Hey Sainers, welcome to the final review of season 2024. And what a way to cap off the season, almost bittersweet in a way, ending the season on 3 straight wins and a win like that. That was insane. Put your thoughts in the comments. To the game, final score, Carlton 74, St Kilda 76. Jack Higgins, the match winner, with roughly 15 seconds on the clock. You'll never see a finish quite like that. Kemp for Carlton with a minute and a bit to go has the chance to seal it. We flick it up the other end. Mateus Filippo gets a chance to win the game. And then Jack Higgins. Jeez. 2022, Carlton fans would know. Something very similar happened to them at the MCG. And who knows what will happen. Fremantle still have to play and they still need to win. But from our perspective, they were undermanned, but they had the crowd. I've never heard a crowd quite like that, despite some of their behaviour. But, that's irrelevant at this point. But I thought it was important to cap the season off with a win. Not every Saints fan sits in the same boat. A lot of Saints fans were fighting their sort of internal demons, whether winning really benefits us at all long term, whether that means we go up to 12th on the ladder, and is that going to affect our draft hand, and is that more important for the long-term future? But for me, seeing Mateus stand up in the first half, Naz be absolutely immense, Wilson continue his solid form in the back half of the year, to see all these youngsters, Ronnie Burns, his first half was brilliant, so underrated. Absolutely love what Ronnie brings to the table. I can't wait to see how he goes next season with another preseason under his belt. But I think that's just as important for me, is to build the culture to win games that look lost. That's clutch. That's absolute clutch. That's never say die. That's don't give up. It's all the cliches, but all, premiership winning teams have these traits in games like this. The crowd was another player for Carlton. It was deafening, absolutely deafening. When they hit the front from, was it Motlop? Put them in front, I think, with the snap. My God, you couldn't hear anything. And even in general play, it was so loud. Free kicks, booing. I agree. I think we got very lucky with the free kicks. I've never seen so many weird missed calls, whether it was for them or for us. There was just a lot of missed calls. So I completely understand the frustrations on that end. But we weren't at our absolute best, but you could just see when the game was contested, when it was clearance work, Carlton got it and they scored from it. But when it was an opportunity to slingshot, to play attacking, fast brand football and connect in the middle of the ground, by hands, 1-2s, all that, we looked really good. I think, if anything, we just butchered it going inside a little bit. There was a lot of, like in this game, I'm going to watch the tape again, there's a lot of 4 or 5 I can count off the top of my head that should have been really certain goals, and we blew it. So the margin could, we always got it to that 14 to 21, 22 point margin. We couldn't go for the next 26 to get it over 30 and make it very difficult. Carlton were always within reach, and any goal they kicked, momentum completely shifted because of the fans. You knew they were going to turn up. I thought it was going to be close to 50 in the house. I think it was 43 that came up on the screen. Nonetheless, it still felt like a sellout. It still sounded like a sellout. And you knew in the last quarter, only being a goal down or so, they were going to throw the kitchen sink. They were going to throw everything at us to lock in a final spot. But I love the way we just didn't give up. We didn't buckle. We could have turned our toes in the last quarter, and some people might say we're a bit lucky, but you know what? You need a bit of luck in football to win these games. And, if they miss finals because of it, bad luck. But I'm just really bullish about the way we finished the season. To beat Sydney, Collingwood, Essendon, Carlton, Geelong, all in the same season, majority of them in the back half of the season, to finish the season with 5 of our last 6, I think, being wins, is sensational. And really the only poor game was Brisbane. Outside of that, Adelaide wasn't bad, apart from the last quarter, last 5 minutes, and Port Adelaide we could have beaten on our ground at Marvel under a kick. GWS was under a kick earlier in the season. Hawthorn was under a kick. You know, you look back and you think, geez, what could have been? But at the end of the day, I still take a lot from what we've done this season. No finals, two wins shy of last year, which to me is amazing considering how poor I thought we were for a lot of this season. But our football is changing, it's evolving, and I think it's the type of football that you're seeing some of these best teams play when we're at our full flight. The Giants, the Hawks, the Swans, when they play fast attacking football. Obviously, we don't have the absolute A-grade talent to match those teams, but I think in terms of the format of our football, the structure of our football, and what we're trying to implement, that's exactly the type of football that wins you these games and wins. I think, you'll see in the final series, some of these teams will look very good. The Hawthorns, the Giants, obviously Swans finishing top. So, everyone knows that I don't like. I love beating Carlton and Geelong. So to cap the season off with 2 wins like that is outstanding. Carlton kept coming. They kept fighting. Obviously, they're missing a lot of players, and you can't ignore that. That would have played a factor. But I think we weren't at our best. They had everything to play for. That almost makes up for a lot of the stars missing. And Cripps, we handled Cripps for pretty good for about 2.5 quarters, I thought. Maybe 3. Third quarter late, he got going. And I looked at the stats, I'm like 26. Okay, he's starting to get going. He was starting to get clearances. I think we subbed Stocker for Garcia, and Stocker was on him for the majority of it. Looked pretty solid. Then Steele went to him. To our credit, I don't think he had that much of an influence in the last quarter. I thought Hewitt was outstanding for them. But for us, Zachy Jones. The smother with 5 seconds to go for their entry was game winning. And on top of that, he was the one that got the quick hands over to Higo to snap that goal. So, Jack Higgins, full credit. His last month was outstanding. A player that his career could have been done 5 weeks ago. I dare say he deserves to stick around if he's not offered a 1-year deal. That'd be pretty stiff, but heart and soul player today. He put everything on the line, maybe like it was his last game. I don't know. Josh Battle, we don't know these things. But to see Filippo, Garcia get a go, Wilson develop, Sharman do really well. Obviously we're missing Liam Henry. Nasai stand up and was absolutely elite in that first half under immense pressure. That was what I was most proud of, was how much pressure Carlton brought to the table. The first 10 minutes, they kicked the first goal. That's where they wanted to win the game. They wanted to come out quick. They wanted to get the ascendancy. And really, apart from being up early in the first, and I think it was maybe 7 points, it took until late in the fourth for them to hit the front again. And then we bounced back. So every time they hit us with a big punch, we kind of composed ourselves and we didn't really let the occasion overroar us. And I think that's a great learning curve, I think, to be able to play in front of such a hostile environment against a team that's putting everything on the line. I'm really proud of the way the team played. And the same goes for last week against Geelong, against Essendon, against Sydney, who needed to bounce back after some poor form. I'm absolutely bullish on what Ross and co are trying to do. And irrespective of what where we land in terms of draft picks, I think with Dalrymple in, who's very good at spotting talent, whether we get picked 5, 6, 7, or 8, obviously it's probably around that 8, 9 mark now, or 7, 8. I can't tell you on the spot, but I back whoever comes into the club in terms of draftee. They're coming into a really professional and hopefully now ruthless environment where we just want to win every game. Today, people saying dead rubber, good on you, finishing 14th. I go, that's small picture stuff. You got to look at the big picture and what this means for the club. What this means, this form. It's not, the season's done and we've just decided to play. It was always gradual for me, at least. Some people will disagree, but for me, it was constant. It was always there, and things. The GWS game, the last quarter, we pulled the trigger. We nearly won it. Brisbane, last quarter, pulled the trigger, nearly won it. It's not the first time, even in those early losses, where we knew, or at least we tested pulling the trigger and playing aggressive football, and that nearly got us the wins. In the back half of the season, instead of pulling the trigger late, almost as a panic button sort of thing, we learned to develop the entire game for 4 quarters in that manner. But even at times today, when the momentum was against us, We managed the speed, we broke it, we slowed it down, we played tempo football, and then when Carlton allowed the corridor, when they broke down and we were able to get through their press, that's when we punished them on the break. And some of them were absolutely devastating. And, sometimes we miss the goal, but at the end of the day, it's all about getting to that point, to be able to set up and make the most of your inside 50s, especially without a key post like a Max King down there. So even a Caminiti would have been useful at times in this game just to go the long bomb. We couldn't really do that. And we kind of managed Wiedering pretty well, I thought. He got going late. I thought we managed the game very well for 3 quarters. The last quarter was very much, it looked like we were a bit panicky, played a bit defensive, and that invited, obviously, all of that Carlton pressure and momentum on us. But at the end of the day, we Ross wanted to play the Grinch, as Chris Williams says right here, the Grinch, and he definitely was that today. So let's see how it pans out with Fremantle, but I'll get to your comments, Saners. Comment regarding the season and tonight, so let me know. Freo up by 8, okay. Jennifer says, every game should be played to win. You can't start throwing matches for draft picks. We have the young players to take us forward. Well done, boys. Finished on a high. Great comment, and I agree. Our draft hands over the last 4 years have been excellent. Even Garcia, who's to say he can't have a huge off-season and become a player that looks like a top 10 draft pick when we got him in the 40s or 50s or whatever it was. We don't know. You just got to back whoever we get, whether he's a top 5 draft pick or a top 70 draft pick. Ari was 71, 72. Hasty. Garcia was in the 30s, 40s, 50s. Like, just back the recruitment and back the development plan, and obviously back the structure of what Ross is developing. Because so far, every young kid that's come in, whether it's their first game or 10th game, they look pretty comfortable. They look like they fit a system, and that's what I love about the way Ross plays. It doesn't matter who's playing, because he finds a way for the structure to maintain regardless of who's there. So that's why, as sad as it is, if Battle leaves, I back that whoever takes his position will maintain that strong defense because of the structure and discipline he is kind of bestowed on the team. Stuart says, winning absolutely affects us, but positively, winning this going forward creates a place players want to be at. Who's to say this isn't the difference between an LDU or is it Peatling, I think, from GWS? Who's to say these sort of games and finishing the season strong is not, enticing to some players from other clubs? Everything is important. Players, managers, they consider all facets. It's not just how much you pay them, although that does help. Tim says, won 6 of our 8 once we were unable to make it. Cost ourselves finals, but by not winning the close ones. Good that we practice actually getting over the line. Great lesson for the youngsters. Onwards and upwards, guys. Great comment. Yeah, the young sort of the early performances, particularly the close losses, that's going to hurt us. But you look at Collingwood, that's the difference in the end. So next year, hopefully, when you play a more attacking brand of football, you're not in the dour 49 to 51 score lines. You're hopefully comfortable in winning the game, a bit earlier than that. Eileen, I nearly had a heart attack. I agree with you. That was pretty much the last 45 seconds for me. So, and obviously I haven't got a big red tan. We're just in the car park and trying to get out, and the light's in front of me. So, although this is how red I was when Jack Higgins kicked the goal, just so you know. Getting the wine out tonight, mate. We'll celebrate season finale. Podcast will be very nice tomorrow night. A lot of good content for the week. So, really happy to see the boys finish on a high. Jade says, Jade Bertoni, the sis is in the house. Jones was everywhere. Yeah, Jones, would he be player of the match? Gee, talking to the judge here, Jaden. Who was best on? Who was best on, Saners? Put in the comments. It's a hard one. Was it Zach Jones? Bo says, what a great fighting, hard-fought game. The whole team should be proud of themselves. Thanks for the season finish. We appreciate it. And, yeah, the credit to the cheer squad, obviously very loud, especially first 5 minutes when Carlton were up and about. They were close to the loudest. You could hear them very clearly chanting the Saints song. Max says, Jack Higgins is the best snap kick in the league. He always bobs up with clutch goals. He did it against Sydney, sealed the game. He's done it tonight. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Craig says, we stuck it up them. Go Saints. There's a lot of hate on Carlton in comments. Obviously, they may still make finals, so they might have the last laugh. Who knows? That's a very kind comment from James. Thanks very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Obviously, this year there's been a lot of changes with the channel, and hopefully you've enjoyed them. Hoping for bigger and better next season, more of a settled off season on my end, and hopefully some fresh new content over the off season as well. Trade news. We'll do a lot of draft videos leading up to that. And obviously, the best and fairest in a month's time. So thanks. I appreciate that comment very much. Mitchell says Nasai Wanganimala is genuinely so elite. Luke Ultra says, mate, what a game. Yeah, it was absolutely nuts. Zach Jones best on, everyone's saying. Let's go to the bottom. Cripps was best on. Okay. Higgins and Jones saved the game at the end. Wilson had a great game. Yeah, Wilson was very good. Jones BOGs. Wood playing injured. I mean, a great goal from Wood, though. That was massive. I'd rather lose. What elite sports person wants to lose? Exactly right. You don't really hear that in other leagues, really. I think, it's so transparent what clubs can get. We know what top 10 draft picks are going to be. Imagine if that was all hidden and you just didn't know anything and you just had to deal with it. That would make things a little more interesting. Hunter Clark was good, although minimal game time again. But he's building, and hopefully a big off season for Hunter Clark. Stuart's asking, did I get in the rooms after the game? Curious about Battle's demeanour. No, unfortunately I didn't. It would have been a nice one, but I kind of enjoyed not being in there and just enjoying it in the stands this time. I kind of missed that last week against the Cats because you're in the rooms before the game actually ends. So I'm really, happy to kind of sit this one out and enjoy. A couple more before we wrap up. Picardo says Jones is showing what he's capable of. From watching on the telly, at least I reckon he can put in more meters than Hill today. Hill was very good. He had 6 or 7 kicks, nailed every single one. Elite kicking from Brad Hill. And yes, obviously Zach Jones, huge as well. Ronnie Burns is the Saints' most improved player. That is a good call. Wouldn't surprise me if he got that at the BNF. I think there's an award for that. That's a good one. I'm actually pretty happy there's no Carlton fans in the comments giving shit, because no doubt they would love to. Yeah, I think I'll wrap it there then, as that was a wild ride, that game, but that's the season. That's our season. We finish, we'll be 11 wins, 12th position on the AFL ladder, and I'm really excited for what we can tackle going into next season. If we can start the season well, maybe get a little bit of an easier fixture depending on how that goes, finishing 12th as opposed to 6th the year before. Nail the draft again. Maybe there's a few trades, we'll see who we can nab up. There's been talk of a lot of different players leaving and coming to the club this season and next, so I'll keep a strong eye on that. And yeah, that's the season. What a way to cap it off, beating Geelong and Carlton back to back. If you had told me that pre-season, regardless of where ladder position, I'd be like, I'm taking that and I'm running. So thank you very much, St Kilda, for making my dreams come true and beating those 2 clubs, because they've had the wood over us, and those clubs are big clubs, they're successful clubs, and we're building, and you got to win these games to get somewhere. And it's not this season, but again, like I said at the start, that's, if you're thinking it's just this season, that's small picture stuff. Think big picture, and let's build onto next year and start the season well. So appreciate your support throughout the season. Same as there'll be lives, there'll be videos during the season. So this isn't a wrap up on mine by any means, but I appreciate you tuning into the lives, the reviews and previews, and can't wait to get home and watch that. Maybe I'll just skip to the last 20 seconds and enjoy that. So take care, Sainers. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. And as always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.